Ryan Manchee here with Basis Technologies. I'm sitting down with Jessica Jensen, CMO
Hello.
of Indeed.com. Amazing. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining
it's a
us.
hoot. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to learn about the amazing work that you and your
Oh,
team have
thank
been
you.
involved with. So, talk to me about. I feel like Indeed.com. It's a brand people know.
Mm,
There are a couple competitors out there. Y'all are
sure.
clearly the leaders, the global leaders. What do you think makes the Indeed.com brand great and excel?
Yeah, thank you so much. So, for people who are not maybe so familiar, Indeed is the largest job platform in the world, and we have about 300 million people a month coming to Indeed around all over the world looking for jobs. We operate in 60 countries, and we have millions of employer partners around the world who, connect with and get matched to job seekers. And it's our mission is to help people get jobs, and we help not only anybody looking for a job, and we have truck drivers to CFOs, copywriters to sales reps, nurses to warehouse workers. We're an extremely democratic platform. But I think one of the greatest things about our company is that we're super focused on helping people overcome barriers to employment. And we believe talent is universal, but opportunity is not. So we do an incredible amount of marketing and communications and product work to help women, LGBTQ, formerly incarcerated, people with varying educational backgrounds, et cetera, overcome barriers and improve their lives through work.
I
So
love
it's
that.
an honor to get to work on it.
Yeah, that's amazing that it's not just like uh, not just a certain segment, that it's really open to all, and it's
Exactly.
also very specific groups to help them get in a wonderful position.
That's right. I think, as you said, like we're doing mass global product development for all job seekers, but then very specific things around pay equality, education, removing education requirements from jobs, helping employers understand that previously incarcerated people are an incredible labor pool that are frequently discriminated against. And there are 77 million previously incarcerated adults in the United States, 1 in 3 adults. So when you think about the importance of getting that group of people into the labor force, that's an example of something that we put a lot of effort into.
Yeah, it's a great example of greater inclusivity
Exactly.
within the job market and within society as well.
That's
So
right.
definitely an admirable effort from a media perspective and just kind of marketing side. How do you get that message out, and then also just the broader Indeed.com message out
Right.
to those hundreds of thousands, those millions of job seekers who are out there?
Yeah.
What approach do you
Yeah,
have
how do we
from a
think about
paid
that
and earned and
mix?
owned?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So we do massive TV, radio, so mass media in Europe, Japan, Australia, all over North
yeah.
America. So that's kind of the global brand air cover.
Hmm.
We are huge search marketers with Google and Bing, et cetera. We do a ton of social marketing, which is both mass and hyper focused, right? So we do advertising with Meta, TikTok, et cetera, to attract and engage general job seekers, but then also specific channels and campaigns and programs for women in the workforce, Latinx, the people with criminal records, et cetera. So we are doing a lot of mass awareness advertising, as well as very, HBCU recruiting initiatives, very specific sub audiences. And we do that in many, many countries. So it is a rich patchwork quilt of media and content development and creative development. But it's really the complexity of it is super exciting.
Yeah, well, it's like it is very
Yeah.
complex, right? Very strategic, very well planned. I'm interested. I feel like the that omni-channel approach that it
Hmm.
sounds like y'all are incredibly effective
Thousand
with.
percent.
How do you approach that from a measurement perspective and
Sure.
attribution, especially when you think about some of those different forms of
Yep.
not only just the kind of traditional mass media, but even some of these areas of digital media that either today or tomorrow or a year from now are challenging to be able to measure
Extremely.
and tie back.
Yeah.
Have you figured that out? Or are
I
you?
think I
Yeah.
think we are on the journey,
Okay.
and most
Yeah.
companies are on the. I
Yeah.
mean, I've worked at Facebook and Open Table and Kayak and various places, and I think uh, as at Indeed, we are. I would say very sophisticated and effective at measurement in certain areas, and then other areas like event marketing measurement is chronically challenging, right? If you bring clients to an event and then you're trying to track who converts after the event, well, is that because the salesperson met with them or the event or they saw a piece of media? So attribution in that arena, particularly on the B2B side, I think is very hard. But for TV, radio, digital, we are big direct mail
Hmm.
spenders. Don't knock out direct mail. It's a brontosaurus, but it keeps on trucking. That thing is effective. So we work with analytics partners for media mix modeling work, where we're looking at brand investment and performance investment across multiple channels and the lift that drives on revenue, job seeker account creates, and a variety of metrics. So I feel like I would say, we're probably 80% along our journey. But as you know, and client and customers and marketers everywhere, data access, data integrity, trying to look at online and offline channels in the same setting with, in some of our smaller markets, very limited data
Sure.
sets. For the US, right, like we have such a magnitude, or the UK or various places, that kind of media measurement is much easier than in smaller markets.
Yeah.
So it's complicated, but
Yeah.
I like we just finished a whole modeling project where we demonstrated that we drove $1 billion in incremental SMB revenue over the last year due to our brand and performance spend. So that helps me make the case to our CEO and CFO that they should not cut brand spend in a macroeconomic downturn. So that measurement really helps.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting you talk about the brand and performance side and selling that through. I feel like that is a topic that has always been kind of top of mind, but I feel like
Sure.
more so recently as there's
Yes,
increased scrutiny over budgets. It's like, do we need to spend the money on
for
brand so
sure.
much? Let's shift all our dollars over to pure performance that we can directly
Yeah,
measure and attribute. So it sounds like
yeah,
you're working through that. What's your just general take on that of the value of brand and the value of performance? I feel like
yeah,
probably needs less proof there, but
yeah.
general thoughts on that.
Well, I think as you note, whenever there's an economic downturn, companies immediately say cut brand, cut ESG. I've seen it so many
Yeah.
times, and the research shows that companies that continue to invest in economic downturn gain market share, grow revenue. So there's a general consciousness that I want to be part of driving at the board level, at the CEO, at the CFO level, around really helping them understand the economic value of marketing investment. But to the second part of your question, brand versus performance, well, the truth is brand lifts all boats, right? And there's multiple studies that TV investment, radio investment, out of home investment actually makes your performance marketing perform better. So you can't look at them in silos, right? And so a lot of the marketing that we do, search, SEO, other digital display, direct acquisition, is super linearly measurable, right? You can say
Hmm.
dollars out, dollars in, but then you have to factor in the brand halo, perception, and brand lift happening at the same time, and do holdout analysis, et cetera. So it's not for the faint of heart. But I think the companies that put the effort into it and invest in the measurement will learn to invest better and get the confidence of other people across the company or the industry that they're making the right economic decisions.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, overcoming those challenges and finding those new
Yeah,
opportunities there, and also letting the data drive
exactly.
the answers. I think
Exactly.
that's great. All right, one last question for you.
Sure.
If I were to give you a magic wand
I
and you
like I
could
like where
change,
we're
yes,
going.
yes, all right, and you could change one thing in the industry with your job, help the world, whatever it may be, what would that magic wand do? What would you wish?
It's a magnificent question. If I may use my wand for two things.
Okay. Yeah.
Because one is really about diversity in our industry. And I feel like over the last few years, people have really come to understand the importance of diversity and inclusion. Are they executing on it? Is it measurable?
Not as good as Indeed.com, but yeah.
Well,
yes.
so it takes everyone to get on the bus. But I would say that making sure that in marketing team leadership ranks and throughout the ranks, that you have the representation of humanity of the people that you market to, right? You cannot do good marketing for diverse communities, certainly not globally, unless you have those people on your team. And frankly, your agency partners and your vendor partners, you have to hold them to that standard as well. Secondly, for the industry, I would say this measurement topic. We have lacked clarity on brand measurement, the interaction between performance and brand, what investment in ESG marketing drives from a bottom line perspective. And there's really a number of partners and vendors that swim in this pool. But more clarity, more examples, more training in marketing science and marketing measurement, I think is still a huge need.
I love that.
And so many marketers come from a creative background. And so they may not love math.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot win in marketing without a deep, deep love of math, which a lot of people understand. But again, it's the training that I think is a really big need.
Yeah, I love that. Where both those go back to education and training, and just adoption and being open to maybe what you're maybe not comfortable with for whatever reason, but being open-minded and being curious about it.
Totally. I came up through management consulting and learned marketing. I'm not a creative expert, but I have to build that around me. I have to train myself. I have to work with experts who have brought me along, and I'm going to be working on it for 30 more years.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your time.
It was a
I really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
Have a great South by.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.